Innovating Education Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.
Vocational training gives students a chance to learn skills and get professional qualifications which will help them find a job. This week on Learning World, we follow students acquiring work-oriented knowledge in Kyrgyzstan, Afghanistan and the USA. In Kyrgyzstan, vocational schools are a Soviet inheritance. But as the country moves towards a market economy, training centers are evolving too. Let's find out more.
Here in Kyrgyzstan's capital, Bishkek, echoes of the city's Soviet past can be found on nearly every street corner. But it's not just in the bricks and mortar. The traditional vocational training schools of the Soviet era are still up and running. There are 112 in total, all adapting to meet the economy's fluctuating needs. Here, school number 98 gets its support from the European Training Foundation, which tries to stay ahead of the curve to meet local market needs. The school's hairdressing salon provides the perfect opportunity for students to get real experience while generating an income for the centre. And 80% of the school's graduates go on to find work.
Our school is different because we try to follow the market. We regularly change our programs because in the telecommunications field, for example, computing technology changes very quickly. This is why in the course of a school year we change our programs several times.
The relationship between the employers and the school is a close one. Companies communicate the specialities they're looking for and their vacancies. Some even help out in the final stages of the exams. And one of the most successful training courses is geared towards working in call centres.
At the moment, we have over 100 partner employers. This is why the theoretical part only takes 8 months. And then for 2.5 months, for the final part of their learning, students get practical experience direct from the employer.
There are roughly 25 students per group with a 65% success rate for finding a job in their chosen field.
A lot of companies ask for online operators, like taxi companies, mobile phone companies, even banks. To start with, I'd like to try a mobile phone company.
There are 15 teachers and 250 students at school number 98. The teachers here get a higher than average salary for the work they do, so could this explain the centre's success?
Our specialists are high-level professors. Why? Because thanks to our complementary services, the high school is financially independent and we can increase their salaries. Our professors can earn 10 times more than the average.
This is indeed a plus in a city where 33.7% of people live below the poverty line. And with unemployment around 9%, with youngsters bearing the brunt, vocational training schools are giving them skills and confidence to compete in an unpredictable and gloomy job market.
Driving in Afghanistan has long been a male-dominated activity. But one school in Kabul is now teaching women to drive. As well as helping them get their driving licenses, the classes foster their self-confidence and help them challenge some traditional customs. More now in this report.
Over the last decade, Kabul's population has grown by more than 20 times. So by Kabul's standards, the traffic on these streets is pretty average. For decades, women have struggled for reform in an overwhelmingly patriarchal society. Learning to drive for these women means more than just getting from A to B. It symbolises a path to empowerment. But like with every new driver, mistakes will be made. Nasiba, our learner, is just 18 years old. Her instructor, Shakila, mother of 10 children, started driving in 2001 at a time when the Taliban were leaving Kabul.
Women are going to school, university, they're even teachers. They can take care of themselves now. And once they've learned to drive, they can take their children to school, do the shopping, and solve problems by themselves.
Shakila and her husband opened the driving school 4 years ago and have managed to steer clear of trouble so far. Theirs is the only school in the country which teaches women to drive, and thanks to them, over 600 female drivers are now on the roads.
In some cases, the family wouldn't give the woman permission to get lessons if a man was giving them. Here, their teacher is a woman and they have their own separate class, so there's no problem at all.
But it's after graduation the real challenge starts for these women, tackling the traffic on the streets of Kabul without their mentor Shakila.
I see it all the time. Men don't respect the rules like women do. I don't want to offend, but they just don't respect them. She's a new student. She's scared. Think of it, idiot.
But recently, the president of Afghanistan endorsed a code of conduct for women. He states women shouldn't travel without a male guardian or mingle with men in public places. So sadly, it seems to be one step forward, 2 steps back.
Reaching for the moon isn't necessarily a pipe dream for young people who want to become astronauts. We look at a competition to win preliminary space training and join a special training course in Russia. We join them as they tackle a series of scientific experiments. Let's have a look.
These youngsters are getting their first taste of what it would be like in outer space. Experiencing zero gravity may look like fun and games, but for this group, it's the start of a long vocational course in space and science. So how did they get here? Well, our budding young space cadets took part in a worldwide competition called Space Lab. To get selected, they had to submit their ideas for space experiments onto YouTube. The lucky few will now go on to see their endeavours realised on board the International Space Station. But that's not all.
I am going to go to Russia. Yes, I'm going to have astronaut training. In space, everywhere you look, there's a new mystery, there's a new question. So that's what's fascinating about space.
Egyptian Omar's winning idea is to send jumping spiders into space to see if they retain their bounce in zero gravity. Dorothy and Sarah are from Michigan in the US. They've chosen to send bacteria to the International Space Station to see if it affects growth. Maybe even finding a cure for disease along the way.
Like, why spend your time on Earth, like your life? Why spend it selfishly when you can do it by helping other people, you know?
Everyone from all over the world can cooperate and get together, like on the space station, for example, and work together for like just the betterment of humanity as a whole.
But none of this would have been possible for Dorothy and Sarah were it not for the help of their biology teacher in Michigan. There's no denying the trio's enthusiasm for space, but do they have what it takes to become astronauts?
And once you get selected to be a candidate, then you go through a lot more training on how to put together a space station, how to do robotics operations, how to do spacewalk operations. So it is a long process, but it's fun.
Out of the 6,000 people who recently applied to NASA, only 9 to 15 will be selected. The lucky few will then start an intensive 2-year program, which could someday rocket them to outer space.
Finally, our episode on school discipline certainly rang a few bells with our viewers and sparked a lively debate on Facebook. Why not take a look? And don't forget to send us your thoughts on today's program. Goodbye for now.
Learning World in association with WISE, an initiative of Qatar Foundation.